So we've looked at the OM1, M1, and the OM2. And so moving forward in time, obviously more technology is becoming available, more trends in cameras are happening. And as we saw with the Contact 159mm, program mode was becoming a bit of a thing for people. So unlike Contact, who had to redesign their lenses to fit onto program mode cameras, Olympus didn't. I don't know how they did it. In fact, Mattiani, the designer of the camera system, when asked how did they do their program mode, he said it's magic. I mean, so what they did was they released what's called the OM2 Spot program, which is this one. If it's going to go into focus, there it is. Okay, and this is a program mode camera. Now, for the OM2 SP, as it's called, they did change the body shape slightly because simultaneously they were releasing the OM3 and the OM4. These all sort of came out at the same time. So it's a slight shift in body design, nothing massive, possibly to incorporate these new features, but it's still like, a super lightweight camera. Now, their program mode obviously is based off the film metering, off the film metering, yeah. So very accurate. It's very clever. You just set the aperture to the maximum, and then the camera will do its thing. But also this had another function. You have manual, and the manual mode has spot metering. So I think it was their first with spot metering in it. So if you switch to spot, you've got only metering on the very center of the lens, center of the image. But yeah, I mean, it's very clever. It's got some super kind of air dampening in it. The shutter sound is very different than the other Olympuses due to this air cushioning. Really clever. Again, it's like a lazy man's camera. You can put it in program mode, put it on f16 or f22. They didn't do the marking, as you saw in the Contact videos. There's a green designation for where you need to be. What you can do with this though, if you don't want to shoot, if you don't want the camera to be allowed to get to f16, say, I don't know, I'm trying to think of a situation you'd do this, but you want to lock your aperture at, I don't know, f8, because at the top and bottom of lenses, like f16 if it's the highest part, and then when they're wide open at, I don't know, f2.8, then they're the best places to take photographs, because I think you get like softness and distortion at one end, and you get another bizarre effect at the other end. So the sweet spot for lenses is normally between sort of f8 to f4. So say you want to just limit your camera to f8. If you just put it on f8 on here, the program mode will just only give you a combination of exposures up to f8, so you can limit it. Nothing extra on here. I mean, no. Again, I mean, look at the body shape, same thing, same lightweight package, but now it's got, program modes. You've got auto, so you've got aperture priority still if you want to use that, and then you've got manual and spot. A great camera. It's a bit underrated, the SP. I don't know why. It's a fantastic camera to use. Anyway, let's leave it on the table, and then we'll come back at the end. Okay, so this is the OM2 SP spot program. Again, with the whole range of the Olympus cameras, it's very similar layout. You can see that, actually, let me just grab one. Sorry, here we go. So you can see there's a design change here on the pentaprism at the top. This is much wider. This is the OM1. So they've changed the top design here with the pentaprism. These bodies for the OM2 SP were more in line with the OM3 and the OM4. I believe it's the same bodies for both. Very similar. Anyway, so over the left here, rewinder as usual, then the control area. And this obviously has program mode. So we've got a couple of positions we can go to. Manual spot gave you the spot metering, and then auto means your aperture priority, and then flip up to go to program mode. Then if you push it further, you go to battery check. Now, as you can see, there's no off on this, and this is one of these, I think one of these things that cause all these battery conversations. It's on, but it should be off. It should like power down of its own accord, but there's an element potentially of drain going on with these things. But I mean, I don't see it so much on this. There's a bit more on the 4. Anyway, so over here, same again as on the OM2N. You've got your compensation switch, and then you lift for your ISO changes. And up here though, they've moved where the release is from the front of the camera, which was here, film release, to a button on the top. So if you press that, then you rewind. And that used to be here on the other camera. Then there's crank, and then there's your frame counts here. Let's have a quick look at the front. Okay, so there's your timer. I can never remember which way this works. It goes one direction and flashes, but it's a timer, and I don't really use it. So, but there's like you switch it one way, and it does it. And then another way I think is some kind of test. I can't remember. Don't really use it that much. Then there's the release here for the lens at this. Oh no, sorry, that's not at all, is it? I'm completely making it up as I go along here. Look, basically, release on Olympus lens. You press there, locked into contact cameras. So basically, to release an Olympus lens, you press in the sides here. Hang on, show that shot. So ignore what I've said in previous videos. That's an indicator that lights up the viewfinder for nighttime. Where's the red dot bit? For nighttime, there we go. Yeah, so that illuminates the inside and the LED. Yeah, so sorry about that. Sort of like missed that bit. You get so every other camera system on the planet, you release your lens up here or over there. I think it's a Nikon, but with these you squeeze them and then it comes off. So even the release mechanism was built into the lens. Okay, that's got to be a flash thing again. That there, something to do with flash. Not really bothered about it. And then down the bottom, we've got the hole for the auto winder and the battery. And there you go. Obviously, really similar shape, design. I mean, you know, they all have this same unique body shape. And there you go. That's the OM2 SP. Okay, so we're looking through the viewfinder of the Olympus OM SP, and as you can see, it's like dead. So if I touch, I'm in auto mode, if I touch the shutter, there it is. You can see on the left hand side, it comes to life and it gives you the shutter speed. And I'm in auto mode at the moment, so obviously I've just to change the, excuse my fingers, there it is, change the aperture and we'd see the indication move. Now if I switch to program, okay, you can see the indicator pops up that says it's program mode, and now basically, as long as I'm on the smallest aperture, it will just sort of work it out for itself. Now the last one, this has got spot metering, but that's done manually. So if I flick to spot, here we go. It's very similar because you have to change the aperture and the shutter speed to get the meter readings. It's manual. You have to obviously bring the meter in between those two lines to get it to work. I find the viewfinder these slightly smaller than the older ones, the OM1 and the OM2. Still great, really nice and clear and really useful. So there you have it, the Olympus OM2 SP, another stunning camera from Olympus. They could put a foot wrong, could they? Again, you can get these, some of them do, there is a thing with batteries on these cameras. When we get to the SP, there's a battery thing going on. Now, I'll explain what this is. These cameras were designed to use different types of batteries than we have today. The equivalent battery that you need to put in these is silver oxide SR44s, not LR44s, not the lithiums, because they have a discharge profile, and these are very specific on the voltage that they work in. Sort of like an LR44 does this. It sort of like slowly goes down, and then basically it'll hit a point where it can't power the exact voltage. I can't remember what the voltage level is, and the camera just shuts down. With an SR44, its discharge profile is different. It is sort of very small discharge and then drops. So you must put SR44s in these cameras. You know, there are some of them, as we talked about with the OM4, there's a slight level of battery drain, but you should get 3 or 4 months out of the batteries of these. It's not as bad as everybody makes out. You see a lot of stuff on the internet about the battery drain on these cameras. I think the SP is one of them and the OM4 is the other one, but it's not that bad. I mean, think about it. Just take the batteries out if you're really worried. I mean, I can't remember when I took the batteries out of this, it's still shooting, so it's probably about 6 months. So that's great. But yeah, this is a great camera. Again, if you want program mode, you want aperture priority, you want spot, then this is an Olympus camera for you. Anyway, thanks for watching.